Una hakinisika. Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday. Today's episode is on stepping into your power and purpose. Today, I have Chloe Prudore with me, and we are going to be talking about how to change our mindset and how to find our passion and our power within what our purpose is. And so, Chloe, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much, Jacquelyn, for having me on here. So, I am a spiritual mindset mentor and healer, and I help my clients connect to their soul, connect to their purpose, and really create the life that they truly desire.
That's amazing. So, what made you decide this is what I'm going to do? Where was the need? What is what you saw in your personal life and even your client's life where you're like, I'm doing this. This is what I need to be doing?
Yeah. So, it's a long journey. My whole life, if you would have asked me, I was going to become a doctor. I was pre-med in school. There was a point where I was even a neurophysiologist in the operating room. I knew that I wanted to help people. I knew that I wanted to heal people. And back then, that was the only way that I knew, right? Like we grew up thinking like we're sick, we go to the doctor.
Right.
And so when I first graduated from university, I started a business on the side. I got into network marketing, actually, because I wanted a freedom lifestyle. I wanted to be able to have the time freedom, the money freedom, and all that. And I began to notice that no matter how many spiritual or like personal development books that I read, that like my life wasn't changing. Nothing was changing. I was like soaking up all this information, and it was like I wasn't getting results, right? Like I understood it mentally, but nothing was happening. And in 2017, I had built up my business. I had quit my job as a neurophysiologist. And it seemed like my whole life just like exploded and everything was like ripped out from underneath me. Like I ended up back living with my parents. My body wasn't functioning properly. All the chronic illnesses that I had throughout my life had just like snowballed up and just like exploded. My partner and I at the time broke up, and it was in that time that I mean, the best way to put it is I had a spiritual awakening, I feel like a lot of us have that one moment where we kind of can just like go back and remember, like, that's when everything shifted for me.
Yeah.
And from that point on, I just began this healing journey of like looking at my wounds, looking at my patterns, like looking at the way that I viewed the world and like healing myself and really digging into my mindset. And as I kept learning and growing and was just like totally given this new perception of how to view the world, I was like, this is what I'm meant to do. Like, I am going through this so that I can lead others through it. And as I guided myself through this healing, my business shifted. So I went from fitness, because at the time fitness was what saved my life, right? But as I realized that it was so much deeper than that, right? Like, it's our mindset, it's our soul work, it's the energetic work. I started attracting clients that needed that help. And then last month I rebranded my business to what it is now, Wise Wolf. And yeah, here we are.
That's amazing that it's just been a month and I already started seeing your posts. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's taking off. This is amazing. especially during COVID. Like, I feel like everyone that I know who is on this spiritual journey, like everything's switching and like it's quick. It's like even myself, I'm rebranding myself and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like fun. This is feeling good. So let's talk about mindset. I know for personally, like, mindset is a huge thing for me, but we get stuck in these old patterns of thinking, especially even during your healing. So when you're on the journey of finding your purpose, how do we shift our thoughts? Like, what is something you would recommend us to start thinking about, and how to bring that into like a positive light?
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is awareness and not to judge yourself. Being aware of your thoughts and not to judge them, not to judge where you are in your life, because realizing that what you've created in your life up until this point is probably from your subconscious programming. right? Like we're all programmed from between 0 and 8 years old. The world programs us, like our parents, everything, like society, what we're around. That's the programming that gets ingrained in our subconscious. And before we wake up to this, that is how we're living our life. So it's important to not judge the thoughts and realize that it's just a programming, and just as easily as we were programmed when we were little, we can learn how to shift it and we can learn how to change it.
Like, I think that's a really good point, because, you know, we are all, you know, we take in, we're like little sponges, especially as we're little. Like, I watch my daughter, and she will hold one of her baby dolls, and she's only 2, and she'll be like, go shh. And I'm like, okay, where did you pick that up? You know, it's so funny. But we absorb stuff, and we're watching, and we're still like trying to understand like our purpose even at a young age. And so I think recognizing our programming, thinking like, you know what, I don't always have to think like this anymore. I'm going to let this go and allow it to not take our, you know, purpose away or get in the way of like even relationships, because we do deserve more. So then how do we even call in our purpose? What are the steps you even went through to say, you know what, this is my purpose and I'm going to dive right into it?
So I feel like what we go through in this lifetime is the blueprint for our purpose. The journey that we guide ourselves through, the things that we go through, the things that we experience, they're given to us so that we can then help others with them, you know? And, you know, in the middle of, like right at the beginning of my awakening, I knew that, but I still had so much work to do on myself before I could help others, you know? So I feel like the more that you dive into this healing work, your purpose just comes to you and you're like, yes, like I went through this so that I can help others. I mean, I feel like, I know that you can resonate with that too, because I heard your story about your trauma that you went through and stuff. And, right, like you feel called to help others work through that as well. So I definitely feel like our journey is the blueprint for our purpose.
Right. And the thing that I like to do is, and tell my clients, you know, write down what you wanted to do when you were little. What made you the happiest? And that's usually like what your purpose is.
Right.
And like in my culture, you actually would be raised. Your family members would see you like this is their gift, and they would raise you into that. But now we're not in that society where we get to like say, all right, this is who you are. We're going to grow you in that perspective and like give you the tools to succeed. So then for people who are now finding their purpose, they're on their journey, they see where they kind of want to go. How do we not let fear get in the way? Do you have any tips on how to not do that?
Yeah, so I let fear hold me back for so long. And I think one of the things that I would tell myself, my old self, is just no matter where you are, Chloe, it's going to be scary. And to just walk anyways, get the support. You know, I wish I would have hired a mentor that had followed the path, that had gone down the path and was where I wanted to be. I wish I would have hired a mentor way sooner, so that I could calibrate to their energy. But just realize that the fear doesn't go away. You just get stronger and you can handle it better. Like do the scary thing. And the more that you do it, the fear will have less power over you.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. Like, you just have to do it. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. You don't want to do that. Like, you don't want to be seen. Do it anyway. Show up for yourself. Just do it. I'm all for like movement. And I also think like we can even go into that programming and find out, why are we afraid? What is really what is the root of why we are so fearful of showing up for ourselves, you know, pursuing our passion? Why do we think we're not even allowed to pursue that? And so I think like even in your Wise Wolf program, like you even go into this, like what are you currently doing right now to help people let go of those programmings?
Yeah, so right now, I just started this week Wise Wolf Mystery School, which is my latest program, and it's really about rewiring the subconscious, connecting to your soul. I'm walking them through how their journey and what they've embodied is their purpose, and how like they're meant to, teach others. And they're all amazing women that are wanting to start a business based on their spiritual gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also running a workshop on Saturday about quantum manifestation. And, we can't learn how to manifest properly if we don't address our programming and we don't address
Mm-hmm.
our wounds. So I think like really everything that I do, like even with my one-on-one clients, it's all about like shedding the layers of who we've been, that are holding us back, so that we can merge more fully with our purpose and our higher self and our mission on the planet.
Yes, I love that. I'm like, so how can people like get involved with your work?
Yeah, so I have a private Facebook group that I just launched last month. It's the Wise Wolf Facebook group. I share free content in there. I run master classes. I'm in there every day. Right now I'm doing a live challenge, so I've been showing up every day. And that's the best way to hear about how to work with me, like the workshop that I'm doing on Saturday, or, my next program that I'm launching, Quantum Healer, next month. Yeah, so I would say that jumping in that group is the #1 way to be in my world.
Wonderful. I'm like, I'm so happy for you. I'm like, just watching you transform. Like, this is amazing. Like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, it's so great. People
Thank
need
you.
this.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about how to find clarity and vision and what our purpose is. So if you are going to teach someone how to even like find that, what are like some of the tools that you would give them?
Yeah, so I think a lot of this, with me personally, journaling helped a lot with this. And just understanding that your vision is always going to be changing. So I think what stopped me from taking action for a long time was because I had a vision in the moment, but I knew like deep down that it wasn't the vision yet. So I felt like I had to like do more inner work, right, to figure out what the vision was. But the big vision comes by following the small steps that you're given, right? And it's like, if I wouldn't have followed the vision of creating a fitness business back in the day, I would have never, it would have never led me here. So I think the biggest thing is, journaling to get clarity, right? Like asking yourself, like, what do I truly want? What do I truly desire? And then once you're given that first download of like an action to take, like just going for it and following it and trusting that the next steps will be given to you.
Yeah. I'm like, even in my own like career, it was kind of like I was going to school, I was doing all these different things, I was getting my psychology degree, and then I was like, this is fine, but it's not really what I want to be doing. Then I quit my job. I was like a barista at the time. And all of a sudden, boom, I was like, okay, we're doing emotion code. We're going to release subconscious and do subconscious healing. And then all of a sudden it just took off. And so I'm like, just by taking one initial action, even just that one thought of like, maybe this is what I might want to do. Like you've already started like you've already opened that door that said, you know what? Yeah, do it. And then you just kind of have to like follow through, and piece by piece, those will show up for you.
Right. The momentum just snowballs, and all of a sudden you're just like, wow, like I've created this, like what?
Yeah. So what advice or would you give someone who's watching right now that is struggling right now, going through, let's just say, chaos in the world or trauma? What would you say to them to just do like what they're meant to be doing?
Yeah, I would say to what you think you should be doing and to follow what you truly desire. And because I believe that everybody has a purpose deep down within them, and so often it's clouded by what our parents want, what society wants, what we think is good or right or wrong or whatever. And it's like, you living your purpose sounds crazy and not safe at first. Like when I told my parents that I wanted to start a business, they were just like, okay, Chloe, like go to medical school, you know. But it's like when you follow that, your intuition, and when you follow what's inside of you, and when you start leading from desire rather than like what I should be doing, like your whole life changes and everything will just be downloaded to you and given to you. You just have to trust.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that was super powerful. Like I felt it. I'm like, yes, just pursue your dream, guys. Just do it anyway. Don't listen to the inner chatter. Don't listen to the people around you. If it's not of positive and light, then you shouldn't be listening to it anyway. And I know that's super easy to say. And I've done so much work, and you've probably done so much work saying, you know what, like this feels right. Even if it's like a job opportunity and you felt really good about it, but then you go and tell everyone else and they say, are you sure? Like maybe you shouldn't do that.
Right.
But you already made that like momentum towards that thing that made you super happy. So that already resonated with you. So listen to that first, like resignation that says, you know what, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Just let everyone else go if they're not gonna, you know, be in alignment with what you're trying to achieve.
Right. One of the biggest things that I realized was that people project their own wounds, like they don't think that they can do it. They don't think it's possible for them. So that's why they're saying no to you, because they don't want you to get hurt, because they couldn't imagine themselves ever doing that. Right. So they want you to stick to like the safe thing, when it's like only you know what you're capable of and only you can decide how you want your life to be. So that was hard for me, because I was definitely like had some codependency patterns that I had to work through. So,
yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. I would love to do another interview with you to talk more about this and what you're doing. So where can people find you? I know you already gave us your Facebook group, but where else can they find you?
So on my Instagram is wisewolfoffical. You can follow me on there. And then you can follow me or add me as a friend on Facebook, Chloe E. Prudore. And yeah, I do a lot of lives on my personal page. And that's where you can find my Facebook group as well.
Wonderful. Any last thoughts you want to share with everyone who's watching?
I just want to thank you for having me on here. When you said that you were from Washington, I was like, of course you are, because Washington is like my soul home, and I've just been attracting like all things Washington. Like I see Washington license plates in Texas, and it's just so crazy. So I knew that I was meant to be on your show. So thank you, Jacquelyn.
You're so welcome. Thank you for being on. And everyone who's watching, comment below what you learned and how you're going to implement it into your life. And if you have any questions or want to get a hold of us, our social media links are in the comments. So we are so grateful to be on all of your journeys, and we will talk to you next time. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.